Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special Sake Revolution. This is America's first sake podcast. I am your host, John Puma from the Sake Notes, also the administrator over at the Internet Sake Discord, a fun destination to chit-chat about sake. And on the show, I have the distinction of being the guy who's not the sake samurai.
And I am your host, Timothy Sullivan. I am the Sake Samurai. I'm also a sake educator and also the founder of the Urban Sake website. And every week, John and I will be here tasting and chatting about all things sake and doing our best to make it fun and easy to understand.
Oh, right, Tim. Let's just get right to it. I mentioned that this is a very special episode. Why is this a very special episode?
Well, I can't believe I'm even saying it, but this is our 100th episode.
100?
How,
Can you believe
how
it?
about them apples? That's amazing.
Yeah. We've been doing this for a while now, Tim. That's kind of great. And I gotta say, it's been a lot of fun. I think that this has been a great experience making this show every week with you. And it's also been great, all of the guests that we've had on the show over the years. Oh my God, we could say years now.
I know. It's hard to believe. Yeah, we started right when the pandemic started, and it's been just an amazing time. And not only the guests and chatting with you every week, John, but also all the sakes we've got to try. I feel like I've broadened my palate and reconnected with a whole bunch of sakes that I hadn't seen in a long time. And it's just been a wonderful excuse to get down deep and back into the world of sake in a very special way. So all that tasting has been really great too.
Yeah, it has been. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been a really good time. And to celebrate today, we are going to have like a regular episode. We're going to drink some sake.
Yeah.
We're going to do something a little different. We're actually going to Kanpai a little bit earlier in the show.
Yes. Well, John, in Japanese culture, doing a kanpai together is very important. We do a kanpai at the end of every episode, but since it's episode 100, I think you and I together, just the two of us, we really have to do a special kanpai today. Don't you think?
That's right. Yeah, I think that's definitely the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But first, we should probably talk about what we're going to be drinking.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Why don't you go first?
All right. Well, I went back deep into the archives and I looked back at what we did for episode 25. And we had celebrated 25 episodes. And I had a special sparkling sake back then. It's the Hakkai-san Awa, clear sparkling. And I brought that out again. I thought, what better way to celebrate 100 episodes than something bubbly and delicious? So I have the Hakkai-san Awa.
Very nice.
Right.
I don't have anything bubbly today, but I did have a special bottle in my fridge that I felt this would be a good enough occasion for. And so I have the Masumi Nanago Yamahai Junmai Daiginjo. And this is like a new version of it. So think of it as kind of the Nanago 2.0 in a way.
Oh, John, what's that? Looks like we're getting a call.
I think we have a call. Hold on. Let's see.
Let's see who is here. Someone's ringing in. Hold on.
Oh, hello.
Hey, it's Jamie Graves.
Fancy meeting you here.
I know. How did you guys show up here?
I just want to remind everyone that Jamie joined us for episode 59, and that was back in June of 2021. And Jamie, have you had any sake discoveries or any adventures in the world of sake since we talked to you back in June?
Yes. I mean, I think surprisingly, since we obviously it's been very difficult to go to Japan. I have some friends who've been able to go, but obviously it's quite a process. You have to sit in quarantine. And then with, so the end of last year, things got more difficult, but have had a chance to try some really interesting things. Some new things we'll have here in the US. I'm really excited. Hannah Kirshner, who you guys know, who worked at Matsuura Shuzo in Ishikawa, she brought back some samples of the sake that she helped make, some of the Shishino Sato examples. And I was a little bit nervous because I know that she was very excited. Obviously, she knows them and was very excited about making it. But I didn't know like how good is the sake going to be, what kind of style it's going to be. And it was just beautiful. Had 4 examples from them. They are kind of extremely well-made sake in an extremely unflashy manner. Everything is kind of bright, clean, not super fruity, not super nutty or anything, just really tight and well-defined structure. And one of the best sparkling sakes I've ever had, which is not a category I really get excited about. It's kind of all over the place. I think a lot of sparkling sakes, is my maybe unpopular opinion, it's sort of putting the cart before the horse. It's like looking at things like champagne and being like, we should do something like that, as opposed to kind of a natural evolution of it. But the story of the Shishino Sato Sen sparkling sake was apparently a happy accident, that he bottled something a little bit early and it sort of naturally, developed the bubbles. And then he thought, wow, this is, pretty exciting. But it's really nice because it's not, I think some sparkling sake just tries to be really sort of sweet and inexpensive, and some tries to really be as close to like champagne or sparkling wine as possible. And this was like legitimately a sake. It tasted like rice. It had this kind of light sweetness to it, but was really appealing, bubbles, really soft bubbles to it. Really, really cool.
Is that something you're going to be bringing in, or is it just something you tasted?
We're working on it now, yes.
Oh, wow.
I'm currently working with Matsuura-san. He's a very small artisanal brewery that apparently it's like you can get it locally in Ishikawa, and there's like 2 or 3 restaurants in Tokyo, and that's about it. So it's kind of a minor miracle we'll be able to bring that here.
Let me extend the invitation now that when you do get it, we're going to have you back on the show, maybe episode 562, but I don't know when that'll happen.
Yeah. So Jamie, a really quick question regarding that process of bringing sake in. How has the last 2 years kind of impacted that for you? Has it made it any more difficult? Has it made some of the breweries more eager to get their stuff out? We all know that there's like all sorts of shipping problems, but outside of that, just general, like from an interest standpoint, are you seeing like kind of more or less?
I'm seeing a ton of interest from makers in Japan to see about getting their stuff in the US. And I think that's just a matter of, as I'm sure you guys and many of our listeners know, a lot of the way that Japan dealt with COVID-19 was by restricting sales of alcohol in restaurants under the idea that, if people are getting kind of, the more they drink, they'll get careless and maybe, they won't be as diligent about mask wearing. I think that was kind of the idea. But I know on the making side, they saw a significant hit because of that. Also, sake, even in Japan, is much more of a restaurant thing than it's an at-home thing. So I think less people going out has really impacted that. So I spoke to a lot of makers over the past 2 years who maybe they would have never considered the US before, but now it's kind of, it's hedging their bets. It's basically being like, oh, let's see if we'll have a little bit of interest in the US so that if, there's difficulties in Japan, at least we have that. So I've seen a lot
like that.
Yeah. I mean, that was actually what started this whole Shishino Sato conversation, where he is so tiny. He normally sells out of everything, but he'd made a lot of this sparkling sake for the Olympics, which never fully happened in the way that everybody was anticipating it being this big tourism economic boom thing. So that was kind of what started the conversation, is he had sort of extra of this sparkling sake and then just sort of went from there and spoke to a bunch of different people. But then the actual logistical processes have gotten harder. I mean, just things like the government is moving slower to register things. As you guys heard, actually shipping from Japan has gotten astronomically expensive compared to what it was. So it's a little bit of both, but it's exciting to see so many great breweries in Japan who would normally say like, oh, we don't, we're good. We've got all of our sake here in Japan. It's a little bit more interest in selling in other places now. So it's exciting. I think maybe not just myself, but a lot of other companies will hopefully see some new things here in the US. It's been at least lucky for us knowing that there's fans on this side of the ocean that are thirsty and excited.
Tim, are you thirsty and excited?
I was born thirsty and excited. Excellent.
Yeah. So, Jamie, thank you for calling and for spending a couple of minutes with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We'd like to send you out with a little kanpai, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Jamie, thank you so much for joining us, checking in on us for our episode 100. Great to see you again, and we can't wait to have you back. sometime before episode 200 for sure.
Well, thank you for having me, and this is exciting. I can't believe we're already at episode 100. That's a big accomplishment.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's weird.
All right, Jamie. Well, here's to you, and thanks again so much for coming. Good to see you.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Kanpai.
Kanpai. Ah, well, it's really nice of Jamie to stop by.
That was so sweet.
Yeah.
What a great guy.
Where were we before we were interrupted?
Well, it's been a while now, but you and I have been wanting to do our own Kanpai and celebrate these 100 episodes together. And I have a few things to say to you, John, and some very sincere thank yous I'd like to get to. But, I think that's another call coming in.
I think this is going to be a thing.
You want to get that, John?
Yeah. One second.
Hey.
It's Akiko Katayama. Akiko, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Very good. Very honored to join in such a special episode.
Yeah.
Yes. Just to remind our listeners, we had you on episode 60, which was back in June of 2021.
Mm-hmm. And for a bonus, we were actually guests on Akiko's podcast, Japan Eats, back in, when was that?
That was the October 2021.
October. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And that was, you discovered you like sake. Now what? That was one very educational episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to, Akiko? What's your sake life been like since back in June 21?
I had many interesting sake guests on my show, Japan Eats. So I looked up and I had Chris and Mark Isbell of Isabel Farms in Arkansas, where they grow lots of interesting sake rice. Mm-hmm. And it's not sake, but shochu. So Taka Amano of American Shochu Company in Maryland. And this is an interesting one. So Machu Gelpion of Nami Sake in Mexico. That's the first sake brewery in Mexico. And also Wick Johnson of Wines and Spirits in Georgia, who makes American rice koji spirits, which is not, they don't call it shochu, but they intentionally call it American rice koji spirits because it's like they use very heirloom local rice from the American South. So, and they use koji. So it's an American product and Japanese tradition.
Wow. Excellent.
Yeah, well, we will link to all of those episodes in our show notes. So if anyone wants to check out any of the shows that Akiko just mentioned from her podcast, Japan Eats, check out our show notes and we'll link you right there. That's fantastic. Well, you're putting us to shame with all that awesome sake content.
Yep.
Yeah, we have to step it up.
We do. Now this is our 100th episode. Akiko, how many episodes have you done on Japan Eats?
I've done just over 250.
Whoa, that's amazing.
We got some catching up to do.
Again, putting us to shame.
No, it goes fast, and there's so many interesting people to interview and just learn from. That's very exciting. And you have so many people to interview. So good luck.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for us for the next 150 episodes?
No, keep going. I really learned a lot from each episode. I've never missed any single episode of Sake Revolution.
Wow. Nice.
And and I really enjoy like the latest like stream series. That's fun. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking forward to the next, the sake rice, very kind of nerdy, digging into the details. I really learned a lot from you guys. So
if you're looking for nerdy, you're definitely on the right podcast, I think.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I love that we have series like that. It's always a lot of fun to come up with like, what we got to do an episode on this kind of rice, or we have to do an episode about this brand or something like that. So that's always been a highlight for me when making the show and planning it out, is like getting to really explore these series. And we I think we're overdue for some wild rice, Tim.
Yeah.
We
We
need
got
to
to
do
keep
more
those
rice.
rice episodes coming for sure.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, and also please do more prefecture series too.
Ah. Well, we recently did one of those. There are many more prefectures to go, though. I think we have to definitely touch on them.
Right. Yeah, and I think you can start traveling to Japan too, so you can have live episode from Japan. I hope
Maybe
soon.
someday.
That was the idea from the beginning. John and I were going to go
Yeah.
regularly to Japan and do our podcast from there, but we haven't really left our living rooms yet. So Akiko, do you have any sake within reach?
Yes, of course. So, because it's your podcast is America's first sake podcast,
Yes.
I thought I have to toast with American sake.
Oh, nice.
So I got this North American sake brewery, and that's from actually my guest. He was on 219. So that's an Anju Centofantes, North American sake breweries. Real Magic. That's Junmai, award-winning Junmai sake. So this is my special sake to toast to the amazing podcast.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, let's get it in the glass and let's do a kanpai.
Yeah.
Sure. All right.
Kanpai.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Keep up.
thank you so much, Akiko. Yeah, you're a real inspiration to us, and we appreciate all your support.
But also, congratulations. I really enjoy. I look forward to a new episode every week. So, yeah, keep up.
That's
Great
so
work.
nice of
It's
you to say.
amazing.
You have no idea what that means to us coming from you. That is so special and so nice of you to say.
I'm very honest. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you again.
yeah. So hopefully we can toast somewhere in person
Yes.
sometime soon.
That'd be nice.
Really
Yeah.
look
That'd be
forward
very,
to
very
that.
Nice.
And thanks for joining us today. It was very special to have you, and we really so nice to see you. And we'll be in touch with you soon. Okay.
Yep, definitely. So thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was
All right.
great.
Wow, that was really
Wow.
nice of Akiko to give us a call. I thought that was
Yeah.
really nice, and she always has such kind words for us. It's really, she's really so encouraging, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she is a great inspiration. Maybe one day John will make it to 250 episodes like she has.
God willing. So, having said all of that, Tim, it's time for you and I to have our early Kanpai.
Yes. And again, this Kanpai is special for us to celebrate this 100th episode. And
Do you want to get that?
the phone is just ringing off the hook today.
I know.
All right, hold on. Let's see who it is.
Hello.
What's up?
Oh my gosh.
Hello.
What's up?
Okay, so we have a very special group calling in for our 100th episode. We have the folks from Brooklyn Kura. We have Brian Poland and Brandon Dawn. And we also have Miss Caliente herself, Chizuko Niyakawa Helton, Miss Hot Sake.
Kanpai.
Hi, everyone.
Kanpai.
Oh.
guys. We're leading with that this time.
We're going to do a lot in this 10 minutes.
Yeah. So you guys just completed your Kimoto Day event. Tell the people at home what that was all about.
So we make Greenwood Kimoto once a year now, I guess. Like it's become a tradition. And so, the Kimoto Shubo, it's this lacto fermentation, multi-organism thing that happens, and very old. And the way that we kick it off is we have children stomp on the rice and the koji and the water, and it seems to work very well. So if you come to Industry City where we're located, we opened up our rice washing area and we put out our tubs with the rice and koji and water, and we just invited kids and some big kid adults
Kids apart.
and stomp on the rice. So we're like going to macerate that and for a few days and then get it into a tank, and that's going to be our shubo for this year's Greenwood Kimoto.
Actually, last year's Greenwood Kimoto won this best in class
Yeah,
For
for the
the-
San Francisco International Wine Comp, took like the sake field. So.
And then there were children's feet in that one.
Yes,
I think that's the secret sauce.
yeah. I
secret sauce
particularly
is
like
sweet.
that. Like there's child labor involved. It's my for the production of alcohol is my favorite thing about it.
Wonderful. I want to remind our listeners that we had Brandon and Brian on in October 2020, back in episode 28. Chizuko, you joined us for episode 12 back in June of 2020.
Wow.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. So Chizuko, have you had any big sake adventure since June of 2020 or any sake story you want to tell us?
Well, I get so many kind of, online seminars that we have done, and then not only for the sake industry people, actually so many kind of, the IT people, the law firm, the bankers, it's completely kind of different industry people are getting more, into sake and they want to learn more sake via, the virtually. So it was kind of a big challenge for us, but it was a great opportunity to talk, teach, sake to new people. So that's kind of, it's really, really good, great things. Even pandemic was not great, but of course, but but something kind of positive.
Yeah, so you took lemons and you made a sparkling Yamaha or something like that.
Right.
That's awesome. Great. Well, do you think, Chizuko, we're going to be getting back to more in-person
Yes,
events like you're doing today?
Yes, actually next week, I have my first the business trip coming up to Washington DC. So it's in person. The event.
She'll
So,
be carrying bottles of Brooklyn Coral with her.
I guess.
Just gonna smuggle it in your luggage without your
Yeah.
knowing.
Exciting.
They get to DC like, where did all this Brooklyn Coral come from?
And Brian, what about you? Do you have any exciting things that have happened since you were on in October 2020?
I mean, ultimately, we just continue to try and make the best sake that we can, but we are expanding. You're seeing us in more places. You're hearing about kind of the things we're making, why we're making them. And we partnered with a Japanese brewery called Kanpai-san, and that investment has allowed us to really think through a larger scale facility so that we can kind of meet what we believe the demand to be, but also just have a larger impact on the industry, which we're really excited about. And the role we play is pretty focused. It's really about bringing more people into the sake sphere, getting them excited about the category, and motivating them to drink other sakes. And so we think in this new facility and with this partnership, we can just continue to work on that front, which is really our primary.
Well, I think that requires a Kanpai, don't you, John?
I believe you are correct, sir.
So Kanpai! Kanpai! Thank you guys so much. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us for episode 100.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations on your 100 shows.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you guys so much.
It's been a long road.
But we couldn't have done it without your support. All three of you have been such great supporters of us, and we just want to say a sincere thank you for
thank you.
helping us out behind the scenes in so many different ways.
Yeah, both of you are super supporters of us at Chizuko, so we appreciate that.
And I can't wait to get my hands on this Kimoto stomped by children's rubber boots.
By the youngins.
It's the youngins, yes. Fantastic. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for checking in, and we will see you out there on the sake trails. Can't wait to drink with you and kanpai with you again in person real soon.
All right.
Yes,
Thanks so
amazing.
much.
Congratulations.
All right. Bye.
Thank you
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Bye-bye. God,
That was nice.
that
That's
was
nice.
nice. Chizuko, Brian, and Brandon, they are such sweethearts, and they were busy with their Kimoto event at Brooklyn Kura, but they took the time to give us a call and check in with us. That was really sweet.
Yeah. I mean, if I were stomping on rice, I don't know if I'd be able to make it. So I'm really glad that they took a few minutes out of their day. It's always good to hear from those guys. And I'm kind of overdue for a visit to Brooklyn Kura. I need to see what's new in the tap room.
Me too. And I want to get my hands on this Kimoto sake that they're talking about. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
They're always making interesting stuff. They're always, they're really innovating, aren't they? They're trying lots of new, unique things.
I like that they are doing that, yeah.
Now, John, before we get to our Kanpai, you and I, our special Kanpai together.
Yes.
Do you have any takeaways from 100 episodes? Anything that's stuck with you or any?
Well, I will say one thing. It has been like doing this every week. You kind of like it becomes like part of your life. You kind of know that like, okay, I'm going to be recording on this day. I'm going to be editing on this day. And it just kind of like becomes part of your flow, part of your, what you expect to do when you've been doing it for 100 weeks. And it's something I really look forward to doing in a lot of cases. And, I like planning for this. I like being able to execute on it. Guys and gals at home, we sit down and have to figure out what we want to do because we have to coordinate in a lot of cases our sake purchases. Mm-hmm. We have to see what's available and where we can get it. And if both of us can get it, if it's something that we can really only get one bottle of, we've got to arrange a meeting in real life to split the bottle and things like that. And they're just things that are a little behind the scenes stuff that people really don't see, but they're little things like that too. I really look forward to doing. It's just a lot of fun to work out these problems and solve them. And then come up with what we hope every week is a fun, entertaining episode for everybody at home.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think for me, one of the most fun parts has been coming up with show ideas. Like all the series that we've concocted and kind of come up with ideas. I feel like it's been 100 episodes and I would have thought we would run out of ideas or things to talk about regarding sake. But the more we do it, the more interesting, fun ideas you and I both come up with. And for me, that's been one of the most fun and exciting things is just playing around with show ideas, seeing how they pan out. Late breaking news, but we don't knock it out of the park every single week. But some weeks we really have a lot of fun, and I think that comes across on the podcast. And there's also something to be said for good or bad, just keep going.
Right.
If you hit a speed bump or you don't have the best episode ever, get back up on the horse, keep going.
It just means next week's episode, you just take that, you take what you learned and you move on.
Yes.
Yeah. For me, it's funny when I'm doing the initial editing run, sometimes like when I'm listening, I'll like laugh out loud at certain things, like when I'm doing them. And I'm like, when that happens to me, when I'm editing, I'm like, this is going to be a good episode. Like if it's getting me to crack up when I'm putting it together, like I get really confident that's going to be a fun one to do.
When you laugh at your own dad joke.
You're the one with the dad jokes.
Oh no, it's true.
It's true. It is very, very true, Tim. I'm sorry. Has no one told you this?
No.
Did we ever tell the Sake Revolution extended family here that I got recognized once because of my laugh? Like somebody, because I was laughing at a restaurant and somebody, it was a bar, and somebody realized that it was me and asked like the manager if this person was John Puma, and then came over and said hello and that they were a big fan of the podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're famous. Your laugh is famous.
Apparently. And I didn't realize that.
Your laugh is famous in sake bars across New York City.
Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. I want to take a moment and I want to raise my glass and celebrate 100 episodes with son of a...
John, I think someone else wants to talk with us.
Do we have to... Can we do our Kanpai first?
No. That would be rude.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Let's see who it is.
Hello.
Hey, oh my gosh. It is Mr. Ben Bell who has joined us. Ben, you were our very first interview back in May of 2020 on the podcast. Thank you so much for checking in with us. How you doing?
Yes, thank you. I'm doing well, and of course, it was and always will be a great honor that you actually made me your first guest. So
Well, I have to confess, we had no idea what we were doing back then, but you were an awesome first guest, and we're glad the episode even came together. So, but it's an honor to have you back, and we really have to know, what have you been up to since May 2020? What's going on in your sake life?
yeah, when I first came on, I had just moved to New York and started a great job up here at Skurnik Wines and Spirits, working on the Japan portfolio. And it's been a great time. It's been a kind of a crazy time because the job has been so good, but also there was a global pandemic. So it's things to love, things to not love so much. But and I've learned a ton. But my big update, my big news is I'm actually going to be leaving Skurnik and returning to my home state, Arkansas, to start a new sake brewery.
What? Oh
Yes.
my gosh, this is breaking news.
Yes.
This is breaking
Yes.
news.
I don't know if your other returning guests will have big breaking news, but I've got that's my breaking news.
Well, tell us everything.
Yeah.
I'm sure I mentioned this, in the first time I was there on your show. I've been working for so many years with the dream of opening my own sake brewery in Arkansas. And it was really kind of a deviation to come up to New York. And I wasn't sure if I was ever going to come back to this, but I got a great partner, a guy named Matt Bell, was gung-ho about making sake happen in Arkansas. And he really sort of took up the mantle. Of course, the Isbell family has been growing great sake rice in Arkansas and kind of putting the state on the map from the growing side. And just a lot of things came together and made it look like something I could return to. And, we've got a good shot at making great sake. Of course, we've got the sake rice. Arkansas has great water. My partner, Matt Bell, his background is in green building. So we're very much looking to be a carbon neutral operation, which I'm excited about.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing to have a partner who knows really good kind of LEED certification, eco-friendly build out stuff like that. So yeah, and then we're going to be in the city of Hot Springs, which, in addition to being where I went to high school, Hot Springs has a great sister city relationship with the city of Hanamaki and Iwate Prefecture in Japan. And what remains to be one of the great coincidences, I feel like, in sake, Hanamaki is the home of the Nanbutoji Brewing Guild. So, which is how I ended up getting my 2 years of training over at Nanbubijin Brewery. So, it's all coming together. I feel like it's all of the pieces coming together again.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the construction is already happening. I'm still up in New York. I'll be returning in a few weeks, but I'm seeing photos and videos all the time of the progress. It's really exciting. I have to say, it's kind of like it's a deep kind of emotional feeling to be back on track doing this and kind of working on my big, very ambitious dream of having a whole, not just one sake brewery in Arkansas, but having a whole brewing industry built off of our already very good rice industry. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you before, but Arkansas is the number one grower of rice in the United States. Maybe I've brought that up in a conversation at some point. But of course I kid, because I bring this up with everybody. And the Delta in general is just like, it is the rice growing heart of the U.S. And of course, California is a great rice growing region as well. But I feel like sake has a natural home in the Delta, and I'm from Arkansas, so I'm going to be working on the Arkansas side, but I really want to see that whole region sort of prosper and have this new interesting thing to be a part of a thing that they're already really good at.
I remember many years ago you telling me, oh, there's a guy in Arkansas who's going to start growing sake rice, and I was like, well, we'll see if that pans out, because like a lot of people have ideas and things don't always work the way we want them to. And now flash forward to where we are now, and and there's very much sake rice being made in Arkansas.
Yeah.
You were ahead of the game when you told me that, and it's kind of been awesome to see it happen. And a lot of people, a lot of domestic breweries are getting their rice from there, from Isabel Farms, and it's been really exciting to watch.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. I feel like credit to Chris Isbell and his son Mark, who's taken a lot of the operations now. But Chris and I had lunch out in the Delta, I want to say back in 2007 or 2008, something like that, when we were first kind of talking about, making sake, and he was already growing some of the rice, mostly doing tests. But really credit to his family for just taking the chance to do that. And I, still working hard to really grow that and make it a part of, what's being done out there. But they're amazing farmers, which, by the way, I have to say, Isbell family has the most amazing social media. If you ever want to see how a really great rice farm is run, check them out on Instagram or Twitter. Just search for Isabel Farms. You'll find it. It's amazing stuff. You see the people, you see the fields, how things are worked. It's great insight that I think you don't normally get to see.
Nice. Yeah, they do have a very fun Instagram. So I'll be sure to link to that in the show notes. So, well, thank you so much for joining us for our 100th episode. It's kind of hard to believe that, after you were with us on episode 6,
yes, and I didn't even say congratulations on your 100th episode. Like a real amazing accomplishment. Of course, we've talked many times about how there's no sake podcast and there needs to be a sake podcast, and I feel like things are really coming along for sake, and y'all have been a big part of it. So kudos to you.
Well, you have as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
When can we expect sake to come from Arkansas?
So we are starting our test batches next month. And I should tell you the name of the company.
That's probably good.
Yeah, sure. It's Origami Sake Company. So be looking for this name soon. We're going to start test batches in about a month. And we're hoping to get some commercial brewing going by the end of the year. You never know how these things go, but this is, right. That's our plan. But I mean, basically the gist of it is we are moving. So it's
all right.
You're going to see sake from us sooner rather than later.
Wow.
That's good.
Well, if you need any opinions on test batches, we're here for you.
Yes, I may need some tasting help, some evaluation. So yes, I'll probably.
And I'm going to put in the request now to have you back on the podcast for origami episode coming in the future.
Yeah,
part of our North American Brewers series.
Oh yeah, it would be my pleasure for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So be sure to pencil us in on your social media calendar in your new company.
Yes. Certainly.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ben, thank you very much for stopping by and giving us this breaking news. That's kind of exciting, kind of awesome. So.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. Cool. Yes.
Yeah. We can't wait to learn more. And Ben, you've been such a supporter and enthusiast for the sake industry. I'm personally so happy to see this dream working out for you. I know it's been a dream delayed, but we are so psyched and stoked for you. We're going to miss you here in New York, but all the more reason to check in on Zoom and visit when we can. So we can't wait to see more of you.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'll always be around and be back up with some sake soon enough.
All right.
Ooh, all right.
As long as I've known Ben, he has been wanting to have a sake brewery in Arkansas, and that dream is being built right now. Isn't that exciting?
It is very exciting. I think it's New York's loss, though, will be the sake industry's gain.
Yes. And we've had sake from all over the country, and I'm really excited to see what Arkansas water and terroir is going to bring to the table. So I'm super excited to try their sake when it's ready.
Mm-hmm. Going to be a lot of fun.
This has just turned out to be a very surprising episode 100. Lots of things happening I wasn't expecting. Yeah. But John, getting back to that Kanpai for you and me, I have a few things I want to say, and very heartfelt. And for me, it's important to let you know a few things about.
Another one?
Okay, John, you better get this one.
All right. I'll get it.
Hello. Hey.
Hello. It is Byron Stitham from Proper Sake. People at home may remember Byron was a guest on episode 66 of our show, where we had a very rare opportunity to sit down in person and sip sake together, the three of us. That was a good time.
Yeah, so I think where we left off, we were in the process of building out our new facility, and I believe our first batch got underway back in October, and we pressed that in late December. And so I actually just pressed the second batch in the space this week. Had a small fiasco with the fune, but otherwise things are going pretty well. I'm sitting in our new tap room that I've been building out over the last few weeks as well, and trying to get these doors open hopefully by probably June for our bar here.
Wow, that is breaking news for the sake world.
Yeah. So yeah, you have it here first. I think we're going to open probably June 15th or 16th, and we're going to call the bar Rice Vice. So it'll be Rice Vice Proper Sake Bar.
I like it a lot.
That is going to be in Nashville, Tennessee, correct?
That's right.
All right.
Very cool. So I believe one of the things that we talked about when you were last on was that you're one of the only domestic brewers that really likes to dig into those really funky styles of sake. Yamaha, you told us that you were messing around with other types of moto like Kimoto, and I think you even had a Bodai moto in the works at the time. Have you continued to like journey down that road?
I'm always, in perpetual pursuit of different things from the past that can perhaps be modernized or just reacquainted with the future. So yeah, somewhat. I also have been pretty bogged down just trying to keep our main distribution lines up and running. So the big to-do over the last several months has been seeing how much production of our flagship items I can get up and running and finally fulfill some orders. We also won a double gold medal at a New York International Sake competition, which was the same sake that I brought to you guys back in July, that same varietal. So that's also been selling really well and trying to figure out how to make enough to appease the masses.
Yeah, congratulations. That's really exciting. So do you already have the lineup for your new tap room as far as which sakes you'll be pouring in the new tap room?
Well, definitely those flagship items, of course. And then over the next couple months, really trying to dig into some smaller batch ferments and some more experimental or pre-modern styles that either I've done before and need to make some more of, or different styles that I'd like to experiment with some more. But the other cool thing that we're working on is getting in a lot of Japanese sakes. I think that really highlight my journey to get here and hopefully highlight just how beautiful kind of the origin story is as far as some of these more obscure sake styles in Japan.
So when you're delving into those old styles, have you encountered any surprises?
All the time.
All right.
I was talking to Brandon at Brooklyn Kura about this a couple months ago. We were talking about there's this specific around day 6 or day 7 on a lot of pre-modern styles where it's like, well, this thing is spoiled. This is there's no salvaging this one. And then if you're patient and you follow your temp curves, eventually you'll get back to a place where the microbiome of the sake has sorted itself out, and that's where you end up with a lot of those interesting flavors. But yeah, I certainly have cast aside some batches in the past before I realized that things were actually doing good work.
Well, sake brewing is so stressful. It will drive you to drink if you haven't learned that yet.
I tell you, I had that this weekend. I went a little too fast with the pressure on the fune and exploded some bags. Needless to say, I spent the last 48 hours cleaning up the ceiling and the walls and Yeah, this is a new press, so I'm still getting my bearings there.
And Moromi is sticky. It is really super hard to clean up.
Truly, it turns to glue the second it hits a surface, really.
And now you've got to clean it off the ceiling.
Yeah.
John and I were just talking how much we enjoyed your episode when you appeared with us last July. It was one of our few in-person episodes that we've done over our 100 episode run. So it was really special for us, and we got to meet you in person, taste your sake, John and I both for the first time in front of you, which was a lot of pressure. But John and I were just reminiscing recently that how much we enjoyed your sake. So we're really excited to hear that the tap room is reopening, and we can't wait to come down. I'm going to go ahead and invite myself, and we can't wait to come down and maybe do another episode with you in the future at your tap room.
That would be incredible. I mean, I would be honored to host you guys. So anytime you want to come, truly, whether we've opened or not. That. And likewise, last July was such a special occasion, because I hadn't really been able to travel due to the pandemic for so long. New York is very dear to me, and to be able to meet some heroes and legends like yourselves, while also getting back into the New York sake scene, it was just such a great trip.
Sounds good. Cannot wait to get down there, and really, thanks for giving us a call and updating us on what you've been up to down there. It sounds exciting.
Yeah, it has been. It has been. I'm ready to get to the fun stuff, which is drinking sake with pals and, learning and talking.
Yeah. Well, we'll make it our goal before episode 200 to get back down there.
I'm going to hold you to that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for checking in with us for our 100th episode. It's really special and fun for us to talk with you. And congratulations on the upcoming opening of your new tap room. We're super excited to celebrate with you when the time comes. But until then, we just want to wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. It was really great to see you guys as well. And let's do this again soon.
Let's.
Fantastic. All right. Byron, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Well, that was nice. Tim, where were we?
Well, I've been trying to say a few words to you, John, as my trusted podcast buddy. And, I think it's important for us to do a Kanpai together, just the two of us, and celebrate these 100 episodes that we've done together. For better or for
you're
worse.
Speaking my language, Tim. You're speaking my language. I've got my glass in hand.
All right. Well, all I can say is...
Hello, Moto.
All right.
Wonder who this is.
Hello.
Oh my! It's the ninja. It's the
watch out.
Sake Ninja.
Watch out behind you.
Coming live to you from a hotel room.
On the line with us, we have a VIP guest, Chris Johnson, a.k.a. the Sake Ninja. Now, Chris, you joined us way back in episode 8, which was May 2020.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a little while ago.
Yeah, that is.
I think I've had COVID twice since then.
Oh, my God.
Oh man, yeah, it really was that long ago.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah.
It sure does.
100 episodes, guys. This is crazy. So amazing.
Thank you.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Don't know how it
They're all
happened.
fantastic. I mean, I remember being a part of the first one, and you guys had said, "Oh, we're just figuring it out. Don't get mad at us." And now I listen to them every week and hear the amazing production and stories and information you provide. It's super fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you. It's
Well, John, I was really talking about Tim.
Oh, Chris, that is so nice of you to say thank you. John and I were reminiscing earlier about how at the very beginning, we literally had no idea what we were doing, how to record separate tracks or anything. So we have come a long way, but we also admitted to ourselves that we don't hit it out of the park every week, but
we try.
we try our
as close
best.
as we can.
Trying is an important part. Keep sharing that information to all the people out there. As we say, sake to the people. Keep going.
That's right. That's what powers the revolution.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
what, besides getting COVID twice, what sake things have you been up to since May 2020? What's been on your radar there?
Well, obviously there was a whole lockdown thing. And so we, as the method of communication we're using right now, this little thing called Zoom became a huge part of all of our lives. And one of the things we did as part of the American Sake Association, we did a tour of a bunch of breweries for a little while. And then I expanded that off of that concept and worked with all of the breweries in the World Sake Imports portfolio to do tours and tastings with the brewmasters. And those were super fun and kept me busy a lot during those times. There was quite a lot of, I think John's favorite word, onnomi, were happening quite a bit for a while during that time. And luckily, recently, I've been able to start traveling again to continue that revolution and get sake to the people in the last couple months.
Nice. Those tours that really happened, I want to say in a lot of cases, because of the pandemic and because people really weren't able to get out and about. I think regular people getting that kind of access to these breweries was a real positive thing that came out of an otherwise obviously a terrible time for a lot of people. But having that happen, having that change in the stance of these breweries and having them reach out and make themselves available, I think was a boon. It was a lot of fun for the industry. It's easy to get people deeper into sake when they have that kind of access.
And it was fun, and I anticipated doing them. And there was a lot of, as you know, when you're preparing for anything, there's a lot of behind the scenes work that happens, and Japanese brewers that might not speak English, and practice runs and all sorts of wonderful things. But there was an opportunity to travel through our computers, and we weren't able to travel then, but many people in the number of breweries that we saw, not only including the World Sake Imports breweries, but all the other breweries and all the other tours and tastings that happened throughout the pandemic, you were able to travel to more breweries than most of us would ever be able to travel to in our regular lives, right? Let alone, getting to Japan, getting to 25 breweries in a year, right, is pretty hard to come by and to be able to pull off. And we were able to do, I'm sure I did at least 45 tours between the ones I threw and then the ones other people threw, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's turned in, as John, as you said, an amazing opportunity to visit places without actually visiting places. And if you are lucky enough to have the sake with you, you get to take a trip, right? And experience, especially when you get to talk to the people who make it. It's so much fun. Mm-hmm. So that was truly a highlight of my past year, was doing those things. And now the highlight is to get back out there and sip sake and share and talk and have new items coming to America from Japan. Like we can't get sake here, but luckily we were able to get 2 new items over the last 2 years. So those are exciting to talk about and to taste and experience. So there's some fun things in the horizon. I think we're getting there. And
nice.
Sake Revolution definitely helped me through the slower times the last couple of years.
I'm glad we can help.
Yeah, I remember. I'm a jaded oyaji right now, but I think back to when I was first drinking sake in 2005. If I had the number of Zoom brewery tours, I think my head would have exploded. I was so hungry for information back then and so excited about meeting a brewer at a sake event in passing, exchanging 2 or 3 words with them. If I went to a tasting, that was a big thrill for me. And to have these Zoom events, it really, as John said, it's such a silver lining of this bad situation we've gone through. But I'm really happy for all the newbies out there that are getting into sake now under these circumstances with this amount of information out there. That really makes me happy.
There was a moment where there was just a few too many things. There was I was doing a Clubhouse, a Discord, and another Onnomi, and then the tour is all like. And I said, okay, I need a break. I'm gonna step away for a little while. But it really was amazing, and I could see how the people, like you're saying, Tim, that want it are clamoring for it.
Yeah.
Kind of like all the newbies that can't wait to meet the Sake Samurai Timothy Sullivan in person when they're wandering around, step into Decibel and they're like, oh my God, it's Tim Sullivan.
No, what really happens is they come up to me and they're like, are you the Sake Samurai? And I'm like, yes, I am. And they're like, oh, Chris, it's so nice to meet you. And I'm like, drat, not again. Mistaken for Chris Johnson.
So what have you two been up to besides making this podcast over the last 99 episodes?
This has taken a lot of the spare time, I want to say. But yeah, I do have the Discord that really did pick up a lot of steam over the past 2 years. I had started a little bit before the pandemic started, so it wasn't like something I did because of the pandemic. But developing it out into a place where people can like get together on camera, on Zoom and then later on actually in the Discord live chat and just, sip sake together and talk about it. It's been a lot of fun for me. And, it's been nice to be able to cultivate a place where people can get together and chat about that sort of thing. Independent of my efforts, some of the people in that community went ahead and got my permission to, within our Discord, start up a brewing channel as well. And they have a lot of home brewers, a lot of commercial brewers that get together, and they have their own meeting once a week as well. And so it's really become kind of a nice little internet destination for enthusiasts, which is a lot of what I was hoping for. So it's been fun to see that grow.
That's awesome. Are any of those brewers' sakes extreme?
Probably. I need to check to see if Byron's ever visited that particular chat.
It'll be good to know, just because the X Games are coming around soon, and
nice.
Keep it real. So, I know you asked me to bring a sake today.
We sure did.
Yeah. Do you have sake as well today, or are you just listening to us?
Oh no, we have some.
Ooh, things in your glass.
Yes.
So exciting.
In fact, it's kind of interesting. Why don't you tell everybody what you've got?
So I was able to get, for the first time, and I haven't tasted this sake since before the pandemic, when we were first introduced to it, a sake from Miyazaki Brewery called Masumi Sparkling Sake Origarami.
Ooh.
Or as they like to refer to it, it's a pet knot because it's made in the same pelletot natural method where the secondary fermentation all happens in the bottle. No added sugars or anything. And so I'm really excited to try it because this is obviously a newer version than the version I had. And so I packed that in my bag and brought it out to Colorado because it's not available out here yet. I snuck into the office last week and grabbed a bottle for this special occasion because I figured why not sparkling with 100 episode anniversary type situation.
That sounds fabulous.
Well, Chris, that's really interesting because Tim has a sparkling sake as well.
Oh, really?
Yes, I have Hakai-san Awa in my glass. And
Very
John has
and
Masumi.
I have a Masumi sake in my glass.
Wow.
I have the Masumi Nanago.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Well, let's get your Masumi sparkling into the glass and we can have a cheers together.
I couldn't crack it at an angle like you're supposed to open a sparkling because I didn't have a thing to do that. But I will introduce this into my glass.
Ooh.
Now that looks like a healthy amount of bubbles in there.
That is.
Now, CJ, you said this was an origarami. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means?
So origarami, it basically means the leaves are still inside. There's little particles of ice, so it's not quite at a nigori level, but it technically would fall into the nigori category because it is cloudy sake, but it's not a heavily cloudy sake. It's quite light in its color. I'm trying to see. I might turn it upside down and see if I can introduce a little bit more, but I might have to step away from the camera for a second to do that. Otherwise, we might have a disaster.
So it's like a hazy. It's like a hazy sake, not full nigori, not clear.
Right. Hazy, not full nigori, not clear. I can see that there's some more leaves at the bottom of the bottle. I thought they would integrate naturally from the bubbles, but they didn't quite do that. So I'm going to stir it around a little bit. And it's exploding.
Ooh.
as sparkling beverages like to do when you spin them around. They like to explode a little bit. So we are having, it's like it's like New Year's Eve here in Colorado at the moment. And we have bubbles and spray everywhere. Oh yeah, that's better.
All right. Well, we all have sake in our glass, so let's do a little kanpai with CJ. And CJ, I know you love your kanpais, right?
I do. I've been known to Kanpai a few times over the Zooms and places in my life. So if you'd like me to say the words, I am more than happy to do so. Gentlemen, to your 100th episode, congratulations and Kanpai.
Thank you.
So it was nice to catch up with CJ again.
It was. I said it before, I'll say it again. He is the nicest ninja in town.
Yeah, definitely the nicest ninja I've ever met. Having said that, he's the only ninja I've ever met. So I don't know if that's enough of a sample set for accurate reporting. But, still a nice guy.
It was super nice of him to bring us sparkling along for our 100th episode.
Yeah, I think it was kind of funny that his sake is both of ours combined.
Yes, absolutely.
In a way. So we should probably get to that kanpai. But first, I would like to take a few moments to shout out our patrons.
Yes.
As we say every week, this is a listener-supported show, and it really is those people that help this show to happen. And producing a sake podcast is expensive. There's a lot of things that we have to take care of in order to make sure that this happens every week. And the efforts of our patrons to help us make that happen really go a long way. And it's so very appreciated. Now, we have a couple of different tiers for our Patreon. And so actually going to call out and recognize the individuals who have been contributing to our highest tier today on our 100th episode as just like a nice little thank you.
Yeah. And
so we want to give a special thank you to Susan McCormick, Japan Culture NYC, Glorified 3L, hope I got that right, Jillian Watanabe, Fumitaro Masaki, Lisa Lim, Shun Yamamoto, David Timmerman,
Byron Stitham, Mark Hunter, Mitchell Cooley, JP Erb, Chris Wood, Nathan Kelly, Will Jarvis, Michael Lau, and Namazake Paul.
We wanted to take a moment and just kind of recognize and say thank you to each and every one of you to help make the show possible.
Yeah, we do want to say a very special thank you to all of you for believing in our show and supporting us on Patreon. It really does mean the world to us, and we're so happy to acknowledge you all on our 100th episode.
Yeah. So, Tim, I think there's one last thing for us to do.
I think it's finally time. I'm going to take the phone off the hook. It's
Okay,
finally
please.
time for us to do our kanpai. And oh my, John, we've had so many kanpais with everyone that now my glass is actually empty
CJ! So we're out of sake now.
now. Yeah. Well, it was bound to happen one day.
That'll happen eventually, yeah. But yes, all kidding aside, though, Tim, thank you so much for working with me on this and helping to make this show everything that it's become. It's been a lot of fun, I think, for us to do.
Yeah, it's been great. And over the 100 episodes, I've gotten to know you a lot better. And it's been a lot of fun exploring sake together. I'm really looking forward to another 100 episodes. Do you have any predictions or hopes for the next 100?
I think that much like what you said earlier, that you had concerns early on that maybe will we run out of things to talk about? For a long time, I thought that too. And it's really come to a place where we know that there's an endless supply of topics, of sakes out there to discuss, different ways to show them to people, and different things to talk about while we sip them. And I think that's going to be great, continuing forward and exploring that even more.
One big hope that I have for the next 100 episodes is that we can get more into travel episodes, on the road, visiting people in person, going to events. I think that would be a really fun frontier since we've been forced to be on Zoom for 2 years now. I think that getting out there, exploring the world, and bringing the podcast out of our studios and into the sake events will be, that's a big goal of mine for the next 100 episodes.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
And I really thoroughly hope that, by the time we get to episode 200, there will have been an episode where someone is in Japan.
At least one of us gets to Japan.
At least one of us, yeah.
All right. John, before we wind up, I want to thank all of the people who called in today to wish us well on our 100th episode. I want to thank again all of our patrons. And last but not least, I want to thank our listeners as well. Everyone who has tuned in for 1 or 100 episodes listening to our rantings and ravings about Japanese sake. John and I are so happy that you take the time to listen to us and join us on our little sake adventures and misadventures. And we wouldn't have a podcast if it wasn't for you. So thanks to all our listeners as well.
Tim, I could not have said that better myself. And so everybody at home, please raise a glass with us. And until next time, please remember to keep drinking sake and
Kanpai! We finally made it! Kanpai!
Yay! We finally got our Kanpai.